Taylor Swift just banned her best friend from her own wedding. Not a casual acquaintance, not someone she drifted apart from years ago. Her best friend, the woman she was photographed with at every single Kansas City Chiefs game in 2023. The woman who was by her side during one of the most public and electric periods of Taylor's entire life. Blake Lively is not getting an invitation, and neither is her husband Ryan Reynolds, and that is just the beginning of the list. Because Taylor Swift has apparently spent the last several months going through her wedding guest list with the kind of precision and ruthlessness that has left some of Hollywood's biggest names shocked, confused, and quietly devastated. She cut Travis's own father from the planning process. She banned people who thought they were her closest friends. She implemented rules so strict that even the guests who did make the cut are reportedly considering not showing up. And in the middle of all of this, Travis Kelce quietly liked a social media post suggesting he might change his own last name after the wedding. The most anticipated celebrity event of the decade is turning into one of the most dramatic stories of the year, and we are going to tell you every single detail. Let's start with the engagement, because this story begins in August 2025, and it begins with one of the most perfectly crafted public moments Taylor Swift has ever produced. On August 26, 2025, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce posted a joint Instagram carousel that immediately broke the internet. The photos show Taylor in a white striped dress and red high-heeled sandals. Travis was on one knee in khaki shorts and a black cable knit shirt. The caption read, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." It was playful. It was warm. It was exactly the kind of thing that makes people feel like they know these two people personally, even though they have never met them. The Swifties lost their minds. The sports world went into overdrive. Within hours, the post had more likes than almost anything either of them had ever shared. And Travis, for his part, made no attempt to hide how much he was enjoying the reaction. He went on his podcast, New Heights, and said, and I quote, "Exciting. It has been awesome. It has been so much fun hearing from everybody, seeing the internet go crazy. I still get giddy. Exciting times. It has been really fun telling everybody who I am going to be spending the rest of my life with." That is the public version of this story. Sweet, romantic, perfect. But as with everything involving Taylor Swift, the private version is considerably more complicated. The wedding planning began almost immediately. And almost immediately, it became clear that this was not going to be a standard celebrity wedding, where you invite everyone you have ever worked with and pose for 1,000 photos on a carefully approved red carpet. Taylor Swift wanted something different. She wanted control. Total, absolute, non-negotiable control over the guest list, over the information, over the narrative, over every single detail of the most important day of her life. And that desire for control has created a situation that nobody in Hollywood quite expected. The first controversy to emerge was about +1s. Taylor and Travis made the decision early on that not every invited guest would be permitted to bring a partner. Some guests, like Selena Gomez, were allowed to bring their spouses. Others, including several single women in Taylor's circle, received invitations that explicitly stated no +1. The reaction from some guests was immediate and unfiltered. One source told Radar Online directly, "My invite did not let me bring a +1. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Go alone? That is so awkward." Another guest was even more specific about why the rule felt unfair. She said, "I get it. The venue can probably allow for only so many people, but it is not the best feeling. I am not friends with Gigi and Bella Hadid. And I mean, sorry, I am not." Another invitee reportedly threatened to skip the wedding entirely over the no +1 requirement, calling the situation awkward and unfair. This is not a small detail. When guests who were invited to your wedding are publicly considering not showing up because of your rules, something has gone wrong in the planning process. But Taylor Swift, apparently, does not see it that way. Insiders say her position is simple. She does not want to see random faces in the crowd at what is likely to be among the most photographed moments of her life. She wants every single person in that room to be someone she has chosen deliberately, someone she trusts, someone she intends to keep in her life forever. And that philosophy, taken to its logical conclusion, is exactly what produced the guest list that has shocked Hollywood. Because choosing only people you trust completely when you are Taylor Swift means leaving out a very long list of people who assumed they were in your inner circle. And nobody assumed they were more securely in that inner circle than Blake Lively. Let's talk about Blake, because the Taylor and Blake friendship was one of the most visible, most celebrated, most seemingly unbreakable celebrity friendships of the last decade. They met through mutual friends in 2015. They were photographed together constantly. Blake was at Taylor's 4th of July parties. Taylor was at Blake's events. When Travis and Taylor started dating in 2023 and Taylor began showing up to Kansas City Chiefs games, Blake and Ryan were among the first people who publicly celebrated the relationship. They seemed like family, and now they are not invited. The reason, according to multiple sources, comes down to one thing: trust. Specifically, the catastrophic collapse of trust that happened when Taylor Swift's private text messages to Blake Lively were exposed in court documents as part of the legal battle between Blake and her It Ends With Us director, Justin Baldoni. Taylor had sent private messages to Blake, messages that were intimate and personal. Messages that Taylor never intended for the public to see. And when those messages ended up in court documents that became public record, Taylor felt, according to sources close to her, exposed and violated. One insider told a celebrity outlet directly. That crossed a line for her. Taylor wants a drama-free day and she no longer trusts Blake or Ryan. They are not invited, period. Another source described the state of the friendship with brutal simplicity. There has been an emotional gap for a long time. Rebuilding trust does not feel possible right now. Think about what that means. Taylor Swift is getting married. It is the most important personal event of her adult life. And the woman she spent years photographed alongside, the woman who was at her parties and in her group chats and in her corner during some of the most intense periods of her public life, is not going to be there. Not because of a dramatic falling out, not because of a public argument or a leaked phone call or a diss track, but because Taylor's private messages ended up in a legal filing that had nothing to do with her, and she felt that Blake should have somehow prevented that. The friendship apparently did not survive that feeling, but Blake Lively is not the only name missing from this guest list. Taylor Swift also reportedly excluded Karlie Kloss. This one is even more loaded because Karlie and Taylor were not just friends. They were, for several years in the mid-2010s, described as best friends in a way that went beyond celebrity adjacency. They vacationed together. They modeled together. Karlie was part of the famous squad that Taylor assembled around herself during the 1989 era. And then, quietly, gradually, and then suddenly, the friendship ended. The reasons have never been fully explained publicly. There are rumors, and there have been rumors for years about political differences and business conflicts and mutual acquaintances who created tension, but nothing was ever confirmed by either side. The friendship simply stopped being visible, and now the wedding invitation makes it official. If Karlie Kloss is not at Taylor Swift's wedding, then whatever the two of them had is over. Not paused, not on hold, over. Then there is the situation with Travis's father. Ed Kelce is, by all accounts, a warm and enthusiastic man who loves his son and has been extraordinarily public in his excitement about Travis's relationship with Taylor, perhaps too public. According to insiders, Ed Kelce leaked sensitive details about the engagement before Taylor and Travis were ready to share them publicly. He apparently revealed information about when and where Travis proposed before the couple had announced anything themselves, and that, in Taylor Swift's world, is an unforgivable breach. Taylor is said to be so concerned about further leaks that she has taken the extraordinary step of personally calling guests on the phone to invite them, rather than sending written invitations that could be photographed or shared. The source told the Daily Mail, he already gave out a lot of information about the engagement. Nobody knows what he is going to say, so it is kind of a controversial situation. This is the father of the man she is marrying, and she is managing him like a security risk. The wedding plans themselves have apparently been changed multiple times because of leaks from various sources. Venues have been switched, dates have been moved. The level of secrecy Taylor is demanding has been described by insiders as unprecedented, even by the standards of very high-profile celebrity weddings. One source compared it to Ed Sheeran's wedding, saying, "To this day, nobody knows exactly who attended Ed Sheeran's wedding, and that is the model for this one: total secrecy." The current best information suggests the wedding will take place on July 3rd, 2026 in New York City. But even that is not confirmed. There have been reports suggesting June 13th at a venue in Watch Hill, Rhode Island, with Taylor allegedly writing a significant check to another bride-to-be to secure the date at the Ocean House venue. Neither Taylor nor Travis has confirmed any date or location publicly. What we do know about the guest list is extraordinary simply because of who has been confirmed. Selena Gomez will be there as a bridesmaid. Gigi Hadid will be there, also as a bridesmaid. Taylor reportedly had dinner with Gigi in New York City specifically to ask her.
And sources say Gigi was thrilled and completely surprised to be asked. The Hames sisters, Estee, Danielle, and Alana, are reportedly invited. Taylor attended Estee Hames' own wedding earlier this year, so the reciprocal invitation is not surprising. Suki Waterhouse reportedly confirmed her plans to attend in an interview with Variety. Ed Sheeran and his wife Cherry Seaborn are reportedly on the list. Zoe Kravitz, despite rumors of tension between her and Taylor, is reportedly still invited. This is a wedding that will be attended by some of the most famous and talented people on Earth.
And it is also a wedding from which some of the people who thought they were closest to Taylor Swift will be absent. And then there is the wild card that nobody expected, Travis Kelce changing his name. This is the detail that sent a very specific corner of the internet completely sideways. On a recent episode of the podcast Bussin' with the Boys, hosts Will Compton and Taylor Lewan were discussing what would happen to Taylor and Travis's last names after the wedding. A guest on the podcast pointed out that Taylor Swift is, and this is simply a fact, considerably more globally famous than Travis Kelce. And therefore, the guest argued, if anyone should be changing their name, it is Travis, not Taylor. The hosts played with several options: Travis Swift, Taylor Kelce, Swift Kelce hyphenated. They landed on Travis Swift Kelce as their preferred option. All of this would have been a fun but forgettable podcast moment if Travis Kelce had not then liked the Instagram post featuring the clip. That like was seen immediately by millions of people, and it was interpreted by almost everyone as a deliberate signal, not an accident. Not an idle double tap, a conscious decision by Travis Kelce to publicly acknowledge and apparently endorse the idea that he would change or hyphenate his last name after the wedding. The reaction was enormous. Swifties posted about it for days. Sports fans debated whether an NFL player voluntarily taking his wife's name was unprecedented or simply modern. The consensus seemed to be that Travis Kelce liking that post was one of the most quietly romantic things he had done in the entire relationship. And it tells you something about who these two people are together. Taylor Swift is planning her wedding with the intensity of a military operation, controlling every detail, curating every guest, cutting anyone who has given her even the smallest reason to question their loyalty. And Travis Kelce is on the internet, casually suggesting he might take her name. The contrast between those two things is the real story of this relationship. She is private and protective and scarred by years of having her personal life turned into public spectacle. And he is open and playful and genuinely visibly in love with a woman he respects enough to reorganize his own identity around, if that is what feels right. In the middle of all the drama about who is not invited, that detail matters. Because it tells you that whatever is happening between the two of them behind the scenes, away from the guest list controversies and the security demands and the leaked venue changes, is something real. The wedding, whenever and wherever it happens, is going to be the most talked about event of 2026. The photographers are not getting in. The phones are not getting in.
The people who thought they were friends are not getting in. But somewhere in New York City or Rhode Island, surrounded by the people she has decided she can trust forever, Taylor Swift is going to marry Travis Kelce, and the whole world is going to spend the next several weeks trying to find out every single detail she worked so hard to keep private. Drop a comment right now. Do you think Taylor was right to cut Blake Lively from the guest list? And would you change your last name for someone you loved? Subscribe to GLAM Exposed. We find the stories before anyone else does.